Good day. It's Rock. So we have a interesting topic for discussion. Apparently, there was a fight between Mizkif and Mitch Jones that happened back in September, I believe September 23rd, or somewhere around that time period. Um, there are two different clips we're gonna watch. One is Mitch Jones' side of the story, and the other one is some testimony from uh, Miss Alinity and Mr. Canute. Um, and I have watched a few of these because it's interesting to me. I come from a law enforcement background, criminal justice major, did some time in law enforcement, and I am very surprised at the way that this is shaping up, and the people, the way that people are looking at this, and the comments, and the perspective they have. Now, I'm no longer in law enforcement, so I can talk freely. Um, this is my opinion, and my opinion seems to be differing from the majority of most other people's opinions for some reason. Um, so I just want to go ahead and give my take on this. We're gonna watch it. I'm gonna give some commentary, and that'll be it.
I need to talk about something pretty serious. This situation has been fucking me for months, and I still have.
So this is where number one, it looks really bad for Mitch. First mistake. If you are the victim of a crime and you think that you may ever bring it up to light, you need to go ahead and report that as it happens, as soon as it happens. No matter the justification, if you're trying to protect the person, then you're not going to bring it up. You don't you don't try and protect them 1 second and then go after them the next. Okay? If you feel like you need to bring this to light, or you may need to bring it to light in the future, you address it then and there.
Lasting issues from this situation,
And you should report crimes.
physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. Career wise, it's affecting my entire life. Mizkif physically assaulted me to the point that I was told I might have to have surgery on one of my arteries. And
Okay, so right there, you've been accused of a physical crime. Like, this is now a violent crime situation, right? So that at that point, that tells you right there, we are almost past the point of reporting at this point. We are, if it wasn't such a long time span between then and now, there definitely could have been an investigation launched.
I had to still have a concussion. First, I'd like to start by showing the damage that was done to me.
Alright, so there's that. I guess I got socked here first. And I also have like swelling over here. Yeah, I don't know. I got fucked.
So when you're doing this, when you're filming your injuries, which you definitely should do, um, just understand that this is physical evidence, right? But there is no correlation that any of these injuries actually were as a result of the other party from this instance right here. This could have been a previous fight, could have been self-inflicted injuries. We don't know, right? Not saying they were, but just understand that this actually doesn't prove anything at the moment, but it is evidence, and it is actually fairly substantiated evidence because it's physical. There are weighted pieces of evidence that mean more than others, right? So you've got like your physical evidence with a witness. You've got your physical evidence that can be substantiated. You've got unsubstantiated evidence. You've got eyewitness accounts with written statements. You've got eyewitness testimony. You've got testimony. You've got secondhand knowledge. You've got substantial evidence, and you've got hearsay.
Up. My brain hurts hella bad.
There might be more, but that's the rough idea, right? There's a hierarchy uh, of evidence and of how you can kind of judge the validity of what happened. Oops.
Alright, that is the damage that was done to me. Here's another video when I was getting a CT scan. I was at the hospital all day getting multiple scans.
There you go. There you go. All right.
At the doctor getting my head checked, getting a CT scan. I have bruising from where Mizkif hit me. He definitely socked me here. Here's where I think I got knocked out and then choked me. I have bruising everywhere on my face. Hopefully I don't have a concussion. Also, my tooth got fucked up.
Okay, so he's got hits on both sides of his temples, which you usually don't hit yourself hard enough to bruise in a temple. Some people can do it, especially if they're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. But that's a really weird place to hit yourself. If you're getting hit in the temple, um, you know, that's not good. That's how sudden death syndrome, can happen. Um, but he's got bruising on both temples. He's got marks on both of his necks. It looks like either scratches. It might be strangulation, but it's weird to get those marks like that unless you're really going for somebody. And then it looks like his teeth took some damage, and we're gonna make sure that that story lines up with what he's saying.
I'll get that fixed though.
Okay, so that was the damage done to me. All right, so back to the story. I was at his house, we were arguing, and then I asked him for a ride home. I get in his car, we're still arguing, and that's when we drive past this part of the neighborhood where the camera caught the assault, and I have the evidence right here.
Okay, so just to point out, this is unsubstantiated evidence at this point, because while he does have doctor's notes, he does have documentation of the injuries, and they seem to line up. We don't have time span to prove, because it wasn't reported at the time that it was reported on, that this incident was the result of these injuries. So we'll see if uh-oh. Am I good? Okay. We'll see if this timeline lines up.
So that was right
What? Oh, it's just him
before
pulling
the
up.
assault.
Okay.
This is directly after the assault.
You're trash. What is wrong with you? Okay, so he cut out the fight, which I'm 99% of what I've seen on people making remarks. This is the problem, right? Why didn't you show the fight? Could have been that it was too violent for YouTube, although I don't think so because there's people dying on YouTube. Could be that he was embarrassed, didn't want to ask to get beat. Could be that he is seeking legal action in the future. Or it could be that he is shown in an unfavorable light, which is what a lot of folks, myself included, think that it might be the case of, is that maybe he was the instigator, and and he fucked around and found out. Want to do it again? That's really, really bad for Mizkif. That is really bad for Mizkif. That is a, I mean, it's a security camera, almost a first-hand account, admittance of something happening. I mean, that is really bad for Mizkif. You said you could take me 7 times, and he predates that comment with "you want to do it again," insinuating that there was an altercation. Okay, none of that matters. That is all Mizkif saying, "Hey, you're a bad friend. I don't like you." But none of that is a crime. But you want to do it again when there's a guy on the ground? That's not good. You broke my tooth. Okay. So now we have admittance of something happening. Probably a fight, given Mizkif's own context that he's given to the video here. Talking about, you said you could go 7 times. I think he said something about being pulled out of a car, which means that maybe Mitch was the instigator here. So Mizkif could maybe say self-defense if it was a fight. But something broke Mitch's tooth, he says. And it does kind of line up with, the evidence that he showed. You broke my tooth because you treated me like shit. I mean, hold on, let me make sure I heard that right. Because you treated me like shit. There's a because in there. That is admittance. This is really bad for Mizkif.
You said, come on, you pulled me out of the car, you said, let's go.
You pulled me out of the car and said, let's go. So Mizkif is saying that Mitch Jones here instigated the instance, or the fight. So,
You can't say, let's go.
So
I would love to see what kind of injuries Mizkif sustained from this. But because this was only being brought up now, months and months and months later, we can't really know what injuries Mizkif sustained either. So we don't know if Mitch Jones started wailing on him and then Mizkif pulled him out of the, or well, I guess Mitch pulled Mizkif out of the car or attempted to, um, and put hands on him. What we do have is one person accusing the other of assault. Mizkif has not accused Mitch of anything. And honestly, I would not come out publicly and say anything, but I probably would lawyer up if I was Mizkif. This looks really, really bad for him. Being a piece of shit is not against the law, but putting your hands on somebody is. And it pretty much, I mean, whatever Mitch had, Mizkif gave him everything. I mean, that was a very big misstep that he did it twice there.
I got knocked out cold, and a major issue with this is that he continued to beat on my face so badly that my tooth became dislodged, and then strangulated me to the point where I still have the scars on my neck now, and I was so majorly concussed that I still have symptoms to this day.
So here is an alternative perspective. And this is reaching opinion, right? Just my personal opinion. If these guys were friends, and they seem like they've been friends for a long time, seems like Mitch has some problems. Seems like Mitch has something to gain from this, maybe some popularity, maybe some clips, something like that, right? One streamer is a lot bigger than the other one. Maybe the reason Mitch did not release the full video was because if he released the full video, the aspect of deniability for Mizkif to avoid legal repercussions may have been exceeded. Let me just say, a fight with some strangulation, some concussions here and there, and it was 6 months ago. Okay, fine. It's an assault, right? It's an assault. It's a bad assault. But it's an assault. It's going to be hard to prosecute. If there's a video that exists where Mizkif is beating on an unconscious Mitch Jones to the point where he is dislodging teeth and strangulating an unconscious person on the ground, that is very different than an assault. That, especially with the drugs and the intoxication and knowing the state that the person was in, if they were not fighting back at this point and you do that, you could start really going into some potentially very serious charges far beyond assault. You could potentially be looking at like manslaughter. I don't I don't think that there's any it would be very hard to prove anything beyond that, right? Of attempted murder or anything like that. But manslaughter is usually what happens whenever you don't mean to and you might. Like that could start going in there if Mitch would have died, right? And Mizkif, didn't mean to, but they were in an altercation, like that could have happened. Um and so that could really bump up the severity of the assault charge, right? Obviously Mitch is fine, so it wouldn't be a manslaughter charge, but like that's the type of road, that's the type of way that this could lean into, right? If you're assaulting somebody who's unconscious, oh, that's bad. That's really bad. That's like, okay, now we're going to look into this case that happened 6 months ago. That's where the leap happens, right? And so maybe he's not releasing it because of the severity of that. Maybe he is trying to just farm cloud off of this, and he doesn't actually want legal action taken against Mizkif. And if he were to release the full video, that could happen, and it could even ruin his chances of, staying in this clique even further. Right?
Yeah, I have all the evidence right here. This happened on September 20.
He's trying to position this as a assault. I got assaulted, but I'm not pressing charges case. So he can't let it go to a level of severity beyond that.
2023. I have the doctor's note right here when I went to the hospital and got multiple CT scans. I have post-concussion syndrome, and I've sprained to my ligaments of my cervical spine. It's all right there in the paperwork. 2 days later, I tried to stream because at the time my stream was doing really well. This was during the hardcore era of my stream, right after.
There's no reason not. There's no reason that he wouldn't be doing this for views or for cloud or for whatever, right? Otherwise, he just never would have said anything. So that's obviously the motivation here.
After my subathon.
It doesn't mean that anything's less important, though, right? Now he's giving justification of why he didn't record it.
And I was getting record viewership, and I was actually just having a great time with friends in the guild. So I tried to stream 2 days later, and I covered this up. I just said that I got into a car accident, and I just didn't want to deal with the drama at the time.
See, that's really bad for Mitch. If you lie about it and you cover it and you give justification of why these things happen, did you really get in a fight with Mizkif? Did you really get in a fight with Mizkif? Was it actually a car crash and you're just making all this up? Now, obviously, Mizkif told on himself in that clip. So I'm willing to bet that there was a fight. But this is really bad to do. This is why you don't lie. This is why you don't cover things up. Because if he needed to take legal action for whatever reason, now a self-admittance of I covered this up is very, very, that is high up on the evidence tier, right? As a firsthand, accounted, substantiated evidence, right? You can substantiate that. He's substantiating it right now. This is actually working hugely in Mizkif's favor. If Mizkif hadn't told on himself in that clip, there is nothing that could have linked the two. Right? Because it could have been a car crash.
I didn't, this is a big thing, and I didn't really know how to handle it, nor was my brain was still completely tapped, and I remember streaming this day was very difficult for me.
I might sound a little shitty today. I got in a car accident yesterday, and my throat is completely fucked. Like, as you can see, the seatbelt kind of wrangled me.
Will there be a
I have
new
like a
season
black
intro song
eye.
with
Like,
Optimus?
I got
Sonny?
fucked up.
Was there a date on that doctor? Well, it doesn't matter. We know that the doctor's appointment happened, and we can verify the time and date of this stream, but we can't verify the date and time of the clip.
There's a lot of people around Mizkif that I have a lot of respect for, which was one of the reasons that I considered not going public with this, but considering the fact that he is lying to multiple people behind the scenes and downplaying what happened here, I feel the need to defend myself. I've been isolated completely from everything, and that's fine. I don't really need to be in those friend groups. It's not a...
So right now, Mitch is telling on himself, right? This is hearsay, right? But hearsay is still valuable. It's just really, really, really not as valuable as some of the other types. But what he's saying is that I was isolated from the groups. Nobody else is saying that, right? It's hearsay. Maybe one or two other people might, but for the most part, you can't speak for everybody. It's hearsay, right? But I didn't do this because my stream was doing really well. I wanted to be with these people. I was having a good time. I was being successful. I was. Now I'm not. Now my numbers have come back down. I mean, I can go and look at Mitch Jones. I was watching him earlier today. Let's go here. Go to Mitch Jones. He's not online. Let's see, Mitch. All right. He is not online. Ooh, not that. He was being very successful. You know, maybe now he's not as much. Probably not because those were insane numbers that he showed. But now he's been isolated from the group supposedly, and he's not doing as well. And so there's a lot less reason to not go public with it, right? I'm going public with it because I have a lot less incentive too. So it shows that there's a element of gain that he can get from this. There's motivation.
About that really, but there are a lot of people that I have respect for, and I'm no stranger to contentious relationships, and I'm no saint. But when it comes to extreme violence and assault of this nature and life-threatening injuries, I feel like dude needs help.
Okay, so he actually worded that pretty good. I thought he was going to go a different route with that. I'm no fan of extreme violence and life-threatening injuries. When you start off the statement like that, and now you're taking it from an assault to life-threatening injuries, and saying things of a nature of like life and death, that you're starting to get a little bit too close to that other side if you're just claiming assault here.
Here is the paperwork.
US 29th at 12:50. He was given an IV. He was given some pain meds. Okay. Loss of consciousness and concussion. Multiple injuries to the head and neck. Patient has also been suffering from nightmares, which I believe is related to acute stress. I asked him if he wanted to file a police report. The patient, for his own reason, keeping this between him and the known assailant. Patient declined to file a police report. I told him we are happy to help in any way in the future if he wishes. Avoid rigorous exercise, worsening the symptoms. I've discussed this case with the radiologist. There are no vascular injuries. Didn't Mitch say that he had some vascular injuries during this?
Of the damage done to me from the doctor, loss of consciousness of 30 minutes or less, initial encounter, sprain of ligaments of cervical spine, encounter, strangulation. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm just gonna say, like, bro, I've known you a long time. We were friends. I lived with you. I know we've had our differences, but you don't beat someone unconscious, especially when you know they're that drunk and that inebriated and that intoxicated. The rate of fatality is way higher, and he
So see again, now he's doing this thing where he's escalating. Like he doesn't feel like he's got this point enough across.
knew that I was messed up. What are you doing, man? You could have killed me, dude.
You could have killed me, dude. So now we're getting into that, like, was there willful intent? Was this premeditated? You know, how serious were the injuries? Like all of these things. Was Mizkif trying to kill him now? That is where the question would go from now on. Is this a assault case or is this an attempted murder case? probably not an attempted murder because you can see the issue getting resolved and supposedly Mizkif leaving. We don't actually see it from the clip, but it's not good. And I believe somewhere in there, Mr. Jones said something about he needed surgery on one of his arteries. There were no vascular injuries, according to that hospital report. That's a lie. That is a substantiated lie. We can verify that from his own accounts. Does not look good for Mr. Jones.
Like this, right? And then
Sorry, this is Miss Alinity's part of the story. Her take on, I guess, Mr. Jones's conduct and her relationship with him or her association.
months later, he comes to me and he cries and he tells me, Alinity, I don't know what to do. Everybody hates me. I'm depressed. I don't want to live. Like all this shit to try and like gather sympathy or whatever. Right?
Okay.
I just don't get it. Like,
So she has substantiated Mr. Jones's take on he's being isolated from the group because of his past behaviors. So it's hearsay, but it's something to note.
I just don't get it. I don't understand these people. I don't fucking understand these people. It's so scary. It is so scary, like being in this industry and dealing with people like this. I'm gonna be honest, like it actually scares.
But she continues to associate with him. All of this is hearsay. Nothing she has said has added any kind of value here. I mean, and we can take her personal connection to Mizkif and accounts as a reason why she would be saying these things. Um, it just this is why hearsay is so watered down and so devalued. Um, Everything she's saying is opinion about a person that has no proof, no substantiation at all. It's just a bad take. This actually weakens Mizkif's position. When you try and defamate somebody else's character, it points to a lack of evidence. So actually, Knut's body positioning here is very, very nice. This is somebody who's paying attention very closely and is contemplating what he's seeing.
So I got knocked out cold, and a major issue with this is that he can. I have all the.
The little grin at the end there. I mean, I wouldn't take too much into that. I like Knut a lot. I think that he has a decent head on his shoulders. But there really wasn't a whole lot other than he's taking it seriously. I mean, yeah, he at least was looking at it with an objective eye.
What would I think of that? Yeah, because I heard that he had gotten in a fight with some other person that I'm not gonna get involved in this. But I know that there was another person that he was fighting with. Actually, and there was someone else that he almost got in a fight with a few days after that. Like at a Halloween party.
Again, she's trying to defamate his character. What she thinks she's doing here is she's building, you can tell her body language is so much different than like Knut's or even Mitch Jones's at this point. She is trying to create a narrative. She's trying to set up a history of a history of violence or a history of these outbursts with Mr. Jones's character, but she doesn't substantiate any. No names, no dates, no times, no witnesses, nothing. It's just, yeah, no, he does this. He fights people. Yeah, he's a bad dude. He's scary. Is that it? That's all you got?
He was fighting another person. And he had to get kicked out of this party. Mitch was just fighting people. Like, he was just fighting everyone, showing up to places where nobody wanted him, and just fighting people. Legit. And then he was crying because he doesn't get invited to shit. My God.
So actually, her body changed at the last little bit right here. So she went from this. She went from
Fight
this,
with
which is telling me a
2 days
story
after that,
to prove a point,
like at a Halloween party,
to
and just fighting people.
right
Legit.
here.
And then he was crying because he doesn't get invited to shit.
This is memory. She remembers this. Now, again, it's all hearsay. You can't substantiate any of this, so it's not great evidence. But it does help add to the overall arcing picture.
Sounds like a scam.
Sounds like a scam. Okay, you don't want to say that. You really don't want to say that if you're trying to influence or make a claim about anybody for anything, because then you've already shown your hand. You're already like, yep, nope, don't believe this guy at all. I'm guessing Canute showed his friend this video.
Scam. It most likely is a scam when it's Mitch Jones.
It most likely is a scam when it's Mitch Jones. Okay, so this looks like honest to goodness commentary. He's leaning in, he's happy, he's relaxed. You know, he's engaged in the conversation, but he's not trying to push anything. He's speaking from past experience, but he has nothing to substantiate. He's not actually talking about the current situation in any way, shape, or form. He just doesn't like his past interactions with Mitch Jones.
I can guarantee you he has done several things. Yeah, he has lied over and over again. So then we don't care. We support Mizkif on this. Of course, I would have done it.
We don't care. We support Mizkif on this. Because I don't like him, because I've had negative things that have happened, anything that has happened in this situation, I don't care about. Love you, Canute. Anything and everything he says from this point on is completely invalid. He invalidated himself from this. And that sucks. Because he probably, you know, would have some things and could broaden the history of things. But honestly, Canute and Alinity, they don't have anything to say about this case because they weren't involved. Unless they were there. Or they have seen Mr. Jones get in altercations in the past with other people and can substantiate it with names, dates, and times. And written witness statements. Those are, people underestimate how valuable those are.
Beat him up, it would have been well deserved almost. I'm just kidding.
Well deserved. You don't want to say stuff like that when you're talking about life-threatening illnesses, as Mr. Jones has claimed. That's a really, really bad thing to say.
Sorry for that joke.
He's joking, but just, you know? All right, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. So, yeah, my opinion on this, a lot of bad takes. This needs to be taken seriously. It was a crime that was being committed. The severity of that crime and whether it should be persecuted, I can't tell you. Mitch Jones has done a lot of bad things here, taken this a very wrong way to get it resolved. Mizkif made 2 fatal errors in that video, but has done everything else right and staying quiet. Probably lawyering up. I wouldn't go live. I wouldn't do anything. I would just stay quiet. All right. And wait for things to play out. get the go ahead from the lawyer, and then resume my life and never talk about it. That's what I would do if I was Mizkif. Never get in a fight ever again. The OTK situation with Mizkif needs to have some repercussions. He needs to be fined. He needs to be put on leave. Quietly, not publicly. He needs to be put on leave quietly. They need to do their own investigation. Mizkif may need to go through some training, some behavioral training. There may need to be some, what's the word here? There may need to be some changes to his contract to ensure that he's not going to engage in this type of criminal activity in the future. So that you can protect your liabilities. But other than that, I let it all go. And for Mr. Mitch, you need to stay away from any drugs or alcohol. If at all possible, you need to heal up. I would say stay in your lane. Find friends, find a community, find folks that you can interact with and have a good time that are not these people, because these people are obviously not good for you. You're not good for them. At one time you might have, but not anymore. And go your separate way. And you got lucky here. You got lucky here because you might you might have got like knocked at you a lot more than what Mizkif did. To be honest with you, he could have done a lot more to you if you really wanted to. And try and find happiness in a way in a way and in a location that you're not currently in, because this is not healthy for you or anybody else. You got to stop acting this way. And Mizkif, do not put your hands on anyone ever again, bro. Ever again. It is a crime. You've talked about getting in fights in the past on 6th Street. It doesn't look good whenever these kind of things happen. OTK keeps having these scandals. And your association with it actually hurts you. Not only do you hurt the organization, but now the organization's reputation is starting to hurt you because of all of these other things that have happened. All right, there's a lot of criminal activity that's going on here. It's very public. If you were in the public eye, you cannot step out of line. You cannot do these bad things. They will come back to you. Everyone and their brother, case in point, this video, will have something to say about it. All right. Well, I'm done talking about other people's lives. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. And yeah, I wish them both the best. I'm gonna go play Season of Discovery.